of course, in Parliament to substantiate some of the things, some of the utterances, some of the criticisms that even Ruto, while deputy president, really leveled against the National Police Service and all that kind. So the issue of I learned from my boss, I felt like it was another strong political point. And of course, he also did make a very bold statement that overturning the will of the people is not a joke. And then I think that after that he followed up with he has no intention to resign, and then he talked about, remember, I was elected by 7 million people. The way he tied those in, I felt like he really was trying to bring this case, number one, to the people, but number two, to let the people know and compare and contrast what has he done that is even worse than what Ruto did. He made it look like I am a student of this presidency. I learned from my boss. I've not done anything outside of what I learned from my boss. But I also at some point he did. Yes, I think I'd mentioned about the Adani and the healthcare issue, which I thought that was really strong. But the issue of being very clear about the shareholding and the way it's executed, even though that's not how it came out when he first said it, but the way he brought it out today, I thought that was a very clever way, in my opinion, politically speaking, because even the wordings of that, and I was trying to go see if I can get a way to authenticate, of course, to verify. I'm sure what he read is accurate, what's contained in the agreement. The way he talked about they will take 30% of the share of government. And they kept talking about this, and then he going into some details and talked about if some of your people who signed for the shares, and of course, including Governor Kingi, or now Speaker, is that he only negotiated for himself. That was a joke, but a very strong point. So he did try to address it in a way to move away from him being labeled, that is squarely meaning the issue of tribalism or ethnic kind of mobilization. But the final part of that is where he addressed the 1 man, 1 shilling, and of course tried to tie in with the other model of the 1 kilometer, 1 shilling, something like that. Even though it does seem like he's only champions for the Mount Kenya when he talks about the 1 man, 1 shilling thing, but the way he brought it out, and obviously I know you probably would have brought in invoked other names like the name of Raila, who also is on his side on that argument of 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. I felt like he did bring out something that can, even if it doesn't convince the members of parliament, it might be something that can make the public start thinking that if 1 borehole is serving 500 people, what's wrong with having 2 to serve 1,000 people? So why can't we give the resources in relation to where the people are? So his responses on quite a number of things, the one that I felt was a bit weak and unconvincing, though he had examples, is about the road to his brother's mansion in the coast. It didn't come out strongly for me that he did not have the influence in terms of that road being constructed, though it was clearly talking about as a public road, and obviously the king was coming that way and all that kind of stuff. Though I felt like there's a place he almost fumbled. It was like, did you? But he caught himself quickly and said, no, I did not influence, I did not have anything to do with it, but that's a public road, and several entities that had already applied to do for the road to be done. Now, the part that I would need clarification for anybody who caught that well is where he talked about is about corporate what is it called, something responsibility. where he talks about that these are organizations that are there that are trying to construct the road for public good. So is it clear if the road was constructed using public money, or is it corporations that are there that built that road? That was a little. I kind of went off, and I probably have to play that back and yeah. But that's the part that I got confused about that road. Finally, very finally, the issue of Kemsa and of course his sons following up and him making a phone call, and of course the. I felt like he gave a strong answer to that, in my opinion, unless there are other responses that we may get later. But if this thing went even into investigations to the extent that people were cleared, I mean, what is then the charge here? So so people, I feel like he did prepare and he did execute it. He went off guard when he wasn't reading. And that's why I think the counsel or his lawyers, I think they did a good job to stop him from taking questions, because I felt like at that point, if he wasn't going to stick to the script, he was going to become himself, become emotional, and now start going completely off guard and start discussing, putting his emotion into the responses even before tomorrow. So that is the point. I feel like the question from the media would have put us in an awkward position. Then we start probably contradicting. He starts contradicting, let me say that, what he had already presented based on what was scripted. Yeah, that's how I got this whole presentation that he did. By and large, I feel like, in my opinion, if all that is true, and all that, and especially bringing the emotions of the late brother, of course, and all those things that are written down, they have the will, and I mean, this, everything, all that. I mean, I don't know how else. If those are things that are listed there, then I don't know how they didn't do their due diligence. So until tomorrow, we can only deal with the latest story. So once another one comes in, then we can try to balance with it. Thanks, PP. But great presentation.
All right, let me restart the space so that we can have new speakers as well. I will start with you, General China. Find me on the other side of these spaces. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Home Run PP. We are going extra time because we had to listen to Rigathi Gachagua for 2 hours. So yeah. Anyway, come back on the other side and tell me what your thoughts are on this fiasco.